Welcome to Halachot of Niddah. This will be part 5 of the Shi'ur. Today we want to speak about understanding a woman's body. Rav David Yosef Shlita in his Taharat Habayit is going to speak about that at times a woman can see blood which comes out of the uterus, like we spoke in the previous class, because that is the only blood that can make her tameh. Sometimes a woman can see blood which comes out from the uterus, where it makes her tameh, where it makes her impure from the Torah perspective. And at times she can have blood come out from the uterus where it's not from the Torah perspective that she's impure, but rather the rabbis made her impure. So this is what we want to try to see. There's about 6 cases where we're going to go ahead and we're going to define which one make a woman tameh from the Torah and which ones make a woman tameh from the rabbis. So Rav David Yosef Shlita begins and he says, "Pa'amim sha'isha shera'at adam sheyatza min hamakor temeh min haTorah." At times a woman, she sees blood which comes out of the uterus, she can be impure from the Torah. Upa'amim she temeh mid'Rabbanan. And at times she can see blood, but she will only be impure from a rabbinical standpoint. Now you're going to ask me a question, Rabbi, 1 second. If it's the Torah perspective or if it's the rabbinical perspective, in both cases the woman is tameh. In both cases I'm not allowed to come close to her. So what do I care, Rabbi, if it's from the Torah or if it's from the rabbis? That Bezrat Hashem Rabotai we're going to see in the following class. But in general right now we want to understand when a woman becomes impure from the Torah and when a woman becomes impure from the rabbis. As we go along, you'll start picking up on it, why it's important for us to know when is it from the Torah and when is it from the rabbis. So the first case of David Yosef Shlita says like this. Hirgisha sheniftach mekora. A woman felt, she had a sensation that her uterus opened up. The mikor over here literally means the source, like we spoke about it in the previous class, which is the womb where the baby is formed. She felt it open up. V'yatza memenu dam, and the blood came out from there. Harehi teme'ah min haTorah. You should know that this type of tumah, she is in a Torah level impurity, which is actually the most severe one. So one more time, Hirgisha sheniftach mekora. If a woman felt that her uterus opened up, v'yatza memenu dam, and blood came out from it, harehi teme'ah min haTorah. She is tameh, she is impure from a Torah standpoint. That was number 1. Case number 2, Hirgisha za'azua bigufa. What happens if a woman felt a shaking in her body, like a shivering? Listen carefully. Umatza'al la'achar miken dam, and afterwards she found blood. Harehi teme'ah min haTorah. She is impure from the Torah. So right now we're seeing 2 cases where a woman can become impure on the Torah level. One of them is sheniftach mekora, where the womb opens up. The second one is she feels a shaking. Her body starts shivering. Now, Rabotai, I'm just going to be straightforward with you. Again, I'm not a woman, and I asked this to our Rav Wolken Shlita when we were doing these halachot inside the Shulchan Aruch. How does, what does it mean that a woman, has an opening of the uterus, or what does it mean, Okay, the zazu, I can tell you that when a woman, she shivers, if a person has a flu, you feel cold, that I can understand. You feel a type of shaking. Fine, that I could understand. But sheniftach mekora, I think, if I'm not mistaken, one time the rabbi said, imagine being punched in the stomach, like you feel like like inside of your body, something's like removed, like something's taken away, like something's being like torn apart. So that's a way to go ahead and describe it. Again, I'm not proficient in these things. I don't know how it works, but I am learning with you, and it did bother me this also. What does it mean the woman's uterus opens up? Okay. All right, Rabotai, this is it. The women probably know what these sensations are, because they'll feel it when they start menstruating. Okay. So those were the two ones from the Torah. Number 3 we're going to see is from the rabbis. Hirgisha zivat davar lacha bigufa. If a woman felt a flow of something watery in her body, and afterwards she found blood, she is impure from the rabbis. She's only impure on the rabbinical level. Now, again, Rabotai, let's do this. Let's be a little bit more. Let's do it to the best of our knowledge. The first case, let me do it. The first case we're going to speak about when it says sheniftach mekora, her uterus opened up. Let's say like she felt something being torn. Let's just use that example. Ze'ozua bigufa, shivering. She felt some form of shaking. These two are from the Torah. She's on a Torah level impurity. Now this becomes a little bit easier because we can relate to it, and I'll explain to you how the rabbi explained it to me. If you ever drink water on an empty stomach, when you start drinking water, you feel it literally going down your body. This is what women feel also once they start bleeding. They feel the sensation of water coming down, a flow. So that's what happens over here. She didn't feel any opening of the uterus. She wasn't shaking. All she felt was something liquidy coming down her uterus, right down there, correct? There we're going to tell you that she's only tameh from the rabbis. Fourth case, matzah ketem al basara. What happens if a woman found a stain on her flesh, meaning on her body? We'll see that there is a difference between finding blood above her waistline versus below her waistline. There's also differences if she finds the blood inside of the legs, meaning inside where her thighs are, versus the outside. Rabotai, there are all these halachot we have to see, Be'ezrat Hashem. Okay, so just make it a little bit simpler. Rabotai, this is the whole book. Now this is the book that Rav David Yosef Shuta made in short, okay? Halachot of Niddah, yes? If you want to see Shulchan Aruch, how much longer that is. But I just want you guys to know there's a lot to know, so if you're not clear with something, bear with me, Be'ezrat Hashem, as we go along. If you have any questions, write it down or ask your local rabbi or your local rebbetzin that knows these halachot, or just wait until we go and we'll come across these halachot. Fine. So he says like this, Matzah ketem al besara. What happens if a woman found a stain on her flesh? Or al bigda, or she found a stain on her clothing. It could be on her underwears, it could be on her skirt. She didn't feel at all that the blood came out. She went to the restroom, she takes off her underwears, she sees on her white underwears, she sees a stain of blood. Or let's say a woman, for whatever reason, wasn't wearing underwears and she had a white skirt. Whatever it was, throughout the day she was moving, taking care of the kids, or whatever the situation might have been. And then she sees she has a stain on her back of the skirt. Rabotai, but she didn't feel the blood coming out. She found either a stain on her body, on her flesh. Again, we'll see it. It has to be below the waist. Or she found a stain on her clothing. But she didn't feel at all that the blood came out of her. We're going to tell you that she's only tameh, she's only impure from a rabbinical standpoint. Now, the next piece is very important. Very, very important. Before I do this, let me do this. Now, Rabotai, I am not advertising for nobody. They don't even know that I'm doing this. But I do want to show you something. You have over here Badei Hamalka. I'll just show you what it is. And you have over here Badei Penina. Okay, so what are these, Rabotai? What are these things? Okay, so I have one over here. Okay, Rabotai. So now these things could be bought, I believe, in Judaica, in Jewish stores, Jewish grocery stores. They sell these things for women to check themselves. Now, Rabotai, why am I showing you this? Hands on. Hands on is always better. 1 second. This is called an ed. Edei bidika, the witnesses of checking. Now I'll explain to you what I mean. This over here is a cloth, right over here, guys. 1 second, right here. This is an ed. You see that? It's completely white, clean. Okay. Now you might wonder, what is this for, right? So it's very simple, Rabotai. A woman, when she does a bedika, should I show her myself? I can't show her myself, right? Basically, a woman, when she does a bedika, imagine yourself trying to get on a horse. Now that's how wide you open up your legs. Just whatever it is, trying to get on a horse. You make that horse stance. You look at your fingers. The longest finger is usually the middle finger. You put it on your middle finger. Okay, I'm not showing nobody the middle finger, just you put on the middle finger. And she has to be able to go all the way inside and start literally, turning around and round and round. And this, Rabotai, is to pull it back out. Now, Rabotai, if you think this is disgusting, it's not disgusting, because that's what rabbis do. They have to also check if a woman comes with this type of clothes to the rabbi and says, Rabbi, I have over here a stain. Is it a blood stain? Is it not a stain? Am I allowed to my husband? So the rabbis have to check this. So it's nothing to be discussed with. But Rabotai, if you ever seen how in the olden days, how the grandmothers used to go ahead and try to, if a person had a throat ache, they used to take, marla, like cotton swabs, and they would put inside the mouth. Same thing a woman has to do down there. Now, why is this very important? So let me go back over here. So I just want you guys to see this. Now, in case number 5, Batka atzma be'ed bidika. Now, I want to explain to you why I had to show you that. This is called a beged. I could call this a cloth, a swab. What does it mean, be'ed bidika? What does it mean, be'ed? Ed is literally a witness. Bidika, that you went out and you checked yourself with. This is the witness that checks the woman with, basically. Now, Rabotai, I want to explain to you something. For everything that we do, you have to have witnesses. When it comes to taking out money, you have to bring me proof. When it comes to getting married, divorce, witnesses, everything you have to have witnesses. Now, from where am I going to know, or from where is the woman going to know that she's tahor, that she's pure or not pure? Let's say, for argument's sake, let's just keep this number. A woman waited 4 consecutive days. She was bleeding 4 days. She stopped bleeding. She takes this cloth. She does a bedika before sunset. We'll see the halakha. She has to leave it also during twilight. Then after twilight, she takes it out. Now she has to look at it. Now, Rabotai, what is this clothing doing now? This clothing is the testimony that testifies and says that the woman is clean, is tahor. So if we see a stain over here, we'll see, somebody could be pink, somebody could be dark brown. There's different colors that a woman that can come out of a woman. Now, not every stain that you're going to see over here is impure automatically. Absolutely not. When you see stains over here and you're not sure if it's blood or not, always show it to the rabbi. He'll let you know if it's tameh, meaning if you're pure or not pure. Now, this is very important to know. Why? Because a lot of times I've heard cases come up to me, and I was very surprised, where young scholars, I know these scholars, and I'm not even sure how they would go ahead and do it, Rabotai, and I'll tell you why. So the case that it was brought to me, this specific case, was it was very hard for the girl to become pregnant, meaning they couldn't have children. So I asked her one time, so basically her husband somehow came across me. He said, we go to this rabbi, and he always tells my wife, she has to wait another day, she has to do another bedika. But you have to understand, when a woman ovulates, that's the best time when she can have a child. So the way the system Hashem made a woman, the way Hashem made a woman's body work is that by mikvah, that's when she's ovulating. So by me pushing off, not me chasron, by this rabbi pushing it off 1 or 2 days, he's missing that opportunity. So I told the girl, I said to her, and I said to her husband actually at the same time, I told both of them, next time when she does the bedika, because what was their problem? Every time they did the bedika, she would see something on the cloth. Just because you see something on the cloth does not mean that you are immediately tameh. Does not mean that. First, give it to the rabbi. You put it in an envelope, You don't have to put your name. You write your number. You go, you give it to a rabbi that knows these halachot. He checks it, then his wife will call you, or he'll call you and he'll tell you kosher or not kosher. That's all. That's all you have to do. But in this particular situation, the young rabbi, he kept on telling her, oh, it's not clean, without even looking at it. He doesn't know how to check it. And she would always postpone, and for many years they could not have kids. Rabotai, ovulation is very important. We want to try to get them to be together as soon as possible, not postpone them. It's a very bad, Rabotai. That's why, by the way, when she did do that, Baruch Hashem, I think they are already up to their third or fourth child, probably. But it's very important to know these halachot and do not be, do not be afraid of contacting a rabbi if you have any questions. Again, just because you see blood or you see something pink on the bedika cloth, on this checking of the cloth that you're doing the checking with, doesn't necessarily mean you are automatically impure. Does not mean that. And does not, now, Rabotai, and I want to tell you like this. You know, when a woman does the bedika, let's say she waited 4 days and now she went and she did a bedika, let's say she saw pink. So the rabbi says, push it off one more day. Okay, now she checks it. Now she could have missed the ovulation. So now she's not going to have a child. She's not going to be able to have kids. Now, Rabotai, if you would have brought it to a rabbi that knows this stuff, he would have looked at it, he would have told you, no, it's perfectly fine. In your eyes, it's a problem. But in his eyes, he has to see. They have to see it through the sun to see if it's really red or not. But through his eyes, he's going to tell you it's tahor. So therefore, you could be earlier with your husband. But you don't have to push away 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. No. 4 days plus 7. That's it. After that, you're allowed to be with your husband. You go to the mikvah the night of, and you're allowed to be with your husband. So again, Rabotai, it's very important to know that just because you see blood on a bedika cloth does not necessarily mean that you are tameh. And also at the same time, Rabotai, just because you see blood on the bedika cloth doesn't also mean, Rabotai, you are tahor. Always what you have to do is take it to the rabbi and let the rabbi go ahead and let him identify if you are tahor or tameh because of this bedika cloth. So that's what we're going to see over here right now. Batka atzma be'ed bedika. So we explained why is it called ed bedika? Because we need a witness, and the witness is this cloth that goes ahead and it tells us that you are clean. This is called the ed bedika, the witness that you examine yourself with. So he said like this, Batka atzma be'ed bedika. She checked herself by placing it on her finger and putting it inside herself all the way to the max that she could reach, and she went in circles. She went ahead and she checked herself. Umatza'at dam al ha'ed. Here we go, Rabotai. And she found blood on the ed, which is this cloth, because this is the witness. Harehi savik temei min Torah. We have a doubt if she's tameh from the Torah or not. Number 6. That was number 5. Kincha atzma michutz lepar zodor be'ed bedika. What happens if a woman went, okay, let me do this. Rabotai, I want you to pay attention to the words. Over here it says batka. Over here it says batka, check. That means it goes inside. You have to go inside, right? You have to check in the vagina area, basically. Yes, you have to go all the way to the uterus. Try to reach the opening of the uterus. Over here it says kincha. Now I'll tell you why this is very important to know. And halakha, Rabotai, is for us important to know. There's a very big difference between checking versus wipe. Kincha means to wipe. Wiping, Rabotai, it doesn't mean that she went like this. No. Wiping, as when a person is eating, if you have a napkin, you wipe yourself like this. Same thing a woman would do. She would take this clothing and basically she would wipe herself down there, the same thing, without sticking anything inside, just wiping herself. This is the case over here. Kincha atzma michutz lepar zodor be'ed bedika. What happens if a woman went ahead and she wiped herself outside of the porzodor? The porzodor is the hallway, because the vagina area of a woman. If a woman went ahead and she wiped herself with this ed bedika, Umatza adam, but she found blood. Again, she has no sensations. V'lo hichnisa et ha'ed bifnim klal, and she did not put the ed, this cloth, inside her at all. Harehi teme'ah mid'Rabbanan. She is tameh from the rabbis. So in the case number 5, where she checked herself, she didn't feel no sensation. She had to do a bidika, because one of the halachot we'll see is that when a woman is anticipating the period on that day itself, even though she didn't see no blood, she's still not allowed to be with her husband, even though she's 100% clean. But still she has to check herself to make sure the blood is not coming out, or, sometimes it goes like a wave, like a U. You can miss the uterus and go back in. So that's what we want her to check. So she has to check herself that day on the period, and the anticipation of the period. She has to go ahead and she has to check herself. That's in this case, if she went there and she needed to check herself, and she found blood, but she didn't have no sensation, over there we're going to tell you that it's a doubt to us if she's tameh from the Torah. But if she only wiped herself from the outside and she didn't put the cloth inside herself at all, over there we're going to tell you she's impure from the rabbis. Okay, Rabotai, a review in English. This halacha is teaching, when a woman sees blood, sometimes she is tameh, impure from the Torah itself, and sometimes only from the rabbis. Case number 1, when is she tameh from the Torah? When is a woman impure from the Torah? She feels her womb open, the place where babies grow, and then blood comes out. She is tameh from the Torah. Remember, there's 2 cases. When her womb opens up, she feels that opening of the uterus, she is tameh from the Torah. Or she feels a strong movement, shaking in her body, and afterwards she finds blood, she is tameh from the Torah. These 2 cases are from the Torah. Number 2, when is she tameh from the rabbis? When is she impure from the rabbis? She feels a wet flow inside her body, and afterwards she finds blood, tameh only from the rabbis. Because remember, she didn't have any sensation. What's going to make her impure? If she feels that ripping of the uterus, or if she feels, meaning that opening of the uterus, or if she feels shaking, that movement of her body. But otherwise, Rabotai, is only going to be from the rabbis. She finds a blood stain on her skin or on her clothing, but she did not feel anything come out. Tameh only from the rabbis. Right, Rabotai, very simple. She sees blood on her body or on her clothing, but she didn't have any sensation of it coming out. She didn't realize that it came out. She's impure from the rabbis. When is it a doubt if it's from the Torah? She checks herself with a cloth, which is the bidika, and finds blood on the cloth. This is a doubt. Maybe it's from the Torah, maybe not. We don't know. That's the last case. That's the 2 last cases that we saw. More cases from the rabbis. She wipes herself only outside, not inside, with a cloth, and finds blood. Tameh only from the rabbis.